What up everyone, it's your man Xman87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends news video. And what I have for you today, we'll be talking about the success of the Marvel Legends Haslab Giant Man campaign as it is officially funded. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like, rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's talk about it. A giant win for the Marvel Legends team and a giant win for us fans, knowing that the Giant Man Haslab is officially funded now. And I had a feeling, man, that it was gonna come down to the very last day, as yeah, I've seen it many times before with these crowdfunders where it needed like 3,000 or 5,000 more or 6,000, 7,000 more backers on its last day, and it hits those numbers. And I believe it gained about 6,000 more backers on the last day. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it did just that, man. The FOMO struck hard. It was a very slow build to the very end. And, you know, I just had a feeling that last day when I saw the numbers was Sunday night, I'm like, okay, oh yeah, this is going to fund for sure. And it's not like the Engine of Vengeance where that was consistently losing backers day by day. This campaign was consistently gaining backers every day, so the numbers were going up. They weren't going down like the Engine of Vengeance. And over 13,000 people realized that Giant Man is needed to complete a classic Avengers team. It reminded me that the softies got offended in that one video when I kept it real, saying your Marvel Legends Avengers collection is invalid without Giant Man. They were saying, not every Avengers team had Giant Man in it. Yeah, no shit. Which the classic OG Avengers is what I was referring to, you fucking soft geeks. You act like I don't know my shit. I'm very well aware that there are Avengers rosters without Giant Man in it. So what do you think I was referring to? I was referring to the classic Avengers team. Or any Avengers team that has this Giant Man in it. You fucking soft geeks. It's so funny how people get caught up in their feelings over the things I say. Relax and lighten up, bro. The ones probably saying that anyway are the ones that didn't want this to fund. How could you not want this to fund? It was the lowest affordable Haslab that they gave us for Marvel Legends, and he's an essential and important part of the Avengers team. You know, there were many haters campaigning against this campaign, calling it a boring offering, and it's just a 6-inch Marvel Legends upscaled to 2 feet tall with no fancy sculpting. If these are the same people that are complaining about comic figures not having the sculpts and aesthetics that they're asking for and the shading, then they're wrong. Because, I mean, look, what do you expect out of a dude in red tights? At least they gave you the fancy sculpting. They sculpted the aesthetics. His boots and gloves and all that, they're sculpted. He has seam lines and textures. Those are sculpted. He's got shading on his muscle definitions. These are things they don't give you in regular 6-inch figures. For comic figures, that is. So the fact that they did it for a Haslab, it's a good thing. You know, with a dude in red tights. These are the things that I want to see. Because you heard me many times saying that these comic book figures need additional sculpting, especially on the aesthetics parts, and the proper shading where it applies. I don't feel like every figure needs shading, but, you know, sometimes it helps depending on what character they're tackling or any particular area of the figure. I mean, they gave you that here. But for those that weren't hating on it and you just thought that it was genuinely not an appealing offer to you, then hey, that's fair, man. You know, you weren't hating on it. It just wasn't for you, and that's okay. But again, like, for the haters, what do you expect Giant Man to look like, man? I mean, I think that logic is stupid. That's like saying if Mafix were to make a 2-foot-tall Giant Man, what do you expect him to look like? An upscaled Mafix figure that's 2 foot tall. But nah, it's alright, right? Because it's Mafix. Y'all eat that up. Look, man, I love Mafix just like the next guy, but I don't hate Marvel Legends just to hate Marvel Legends. I bash their products when they do bad, and I praise them when they do good. And they did good right here. So, nah, fuck out of here with that bandwagon shit. You know, from the displays they showed at New York Comic Con, I had some friends show me pictures, send me pictures, seeing it live, and they were just telling me how incredible it looks. Like, the pictures don't do it justice. Like, you gotta see this thing, you know, in person. You know, I believe them. I believe them because even seeing those images, and I know it's a different experience if I saw it on hand. Like, even just seeing it on display just looks absolutely amazing. And when you see the faces up close with the clear eye plastic that they used for the eyes, and just seeing that compared to the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Giant Man figure, it's like, man, it's no question, no debate. That thing beats the Toy Biz Marvel Legends in every way. There's just no debate about it. I recently reviewed that Marvel Legends Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure. If you haven't checked it out, I did it about maybe a video or 2 videos ago or so, and you can see that there are many parts on that figure that's outdated, and even the articulation is outdated. So it was time for us to get an updated Giant Man. And again, I'll always love that figure, but it aged poorly as it gained wobbly joints over time. And that's with taking good care of it. But I'm just so relieved it funded, and you guys know how big of a Giant Man fan I am. I'm a huge Hank Pym mark. It's no secret. You guys know, and I think other than myself, I think Rectangular has been the most excited too, because I know, other than myself, he's like the biggest Hank Pym Giant Man fan I know, so we can both share that. I gotta hit him up after this so we can talk about it. But there are people that aren't as big Giant Man fans as I am and still backed it because they realized he is a founding member of the Avengers and they needed him to complete a classic Avengers team. I even had some people hit me up like, yo, Manny, you know, I'm going to back this because I know how much you love the character and all that. And that's cool, man. I appreciate that. But, you know, also back it because you genuinely like the figure too, and you know it'll serve good purpose in your collection, not just me. I mean, that's cool that you know you wanted to help contribute to making this come to fruition and help me get a Giant Man who's like probably my second favorite Avenger. But you know, hey man, I appreciate it. It was fun seeing that huge surge last night where it got funded so quickly. And it officially ended with 13,889 backers. And so here's the thing. Tier 1 got unlocked. We got the zombie head. But we fell short. Just 111 backers shy of unlocking the Skrull head. And this is where the problem lies. We were so close getting that Skrull head. And now it's like, okay, we got the zombie head that wasn't really needed more than the Skrull head, which is why I feel the Skrull head should have been the first tier. And so now what? For those that backed an extra to get a Skrull Avengers Giant Man to build for their Skrull Avengers team, like myself, you know, what now? If they don't throw in the Skrull head, many people like myself who backed an extra one for that purpose are going to cancel it pretty much, and they're going to lose backers. I feel like they got to throw that Skrull head in there. I mean, they don't have to. They don't because it didn't hit the numbers, but I feel like at this point it would just be better for them to throw in the head because they're going to lose more backers because they give you a grace period to cancel, and I'm going to wait and see to see if they throw it in there. I believe they give you a grace period about a week or 2 weeks to cancel. And so, yeah, if they don't throw it in there, for sure, I will be canceling my extra. And I know many people will, so I'm not going to cancel now just in case they don't throw it in there. And I feel like it's in their best interest to do so. I don't see them doing an extension for just a tier. That would be, the extension would probably be due to technical issues, which I'm not aware of. But if there were any technical issues that happened last night, let me know, because then I can see an extension. And I'm not sure that all the international numbers were collected, so there could be more additional backers added to the tally. So I'm not sure. That's why I said I'm going to wait and see. Now, look, if you're excited for the zombie head, I'm not knocking you for it. I'm happy for you that you get the head. If that's what you wanted more than the Skrull, cool. But I'm going to speak on those who wanted the Skrull head like me. It doesn't make sense to me knowing that that head was the more desired head. So that should have been the first tier. Because seriously, they are already building on a Skrull Avengers team, whereas the zombie head, there are no Marvel Comics zombie figures that they made. They only made MCU zombies. So the mix and matching of comic with MCU figures just makes the display look invalid. Now, if they made the comic Marvel zombie figures, okay, then you could get away with that head, man. Because you know what? I'm not going to trip about it. It's a freaking zombie head. So, I'm not into zombies. That's not my thing. So, if they made Marvel comic zombie figures, then that'll look a lot better together than it would with MCU figures. There are some people that said the Skrull head Giant Man isn't comic accurate because he didn't appear in that classic Giant Man outfit. But that's because they didn't see it. He did. I did show an image of a Skrull Giant Man appearing in that classic costume. And honestly, if he never did, what's the big deal? I mean, they're Skrulls, they're shapeshifters. They can shapeshift into anything. So yes, you can get away with that, even if it wasn't comic accurate. So I don't see what's the big deal behind that. Yeah, like I said before, man, I didn't care about the heads. I just wanted Giant Man secured, which I got that. Giant Man is secured. That was the main thing for me. But I'm not going to lie, when I saw that we were only like 111 backers shy of unlocking that Skrull head, I'm like, no, man. I think that made it worse because we were so close and we didn't get it. Oh, man, if we were far away from it, fine, whatever. But knowing that we were so close, I'm just like, damn it, man. It was right there. So I'm just hoping for a best worst case scenario that if the numbers are final and it doesn't hit the 14,000 needed for the tier 2 unlock, that they just throw in the Skrull head. What I'm going to take away from this is that the way they went about it, their approach to things is what I wanted them to do from the beginning, back when the Engine of Vengeance failed, and I said, like, hey, the next Haslab project, they need to be upfront with us. They needed to reveal all tiers up front, not hide any of the tiers or reveal them one by one after each unlock. So they did that, check, right? They needed to keep it consumer friendly with the price, and they did just that with making it the most affordable Marvel Legends Haslab at $199.99, whatever, $200, you know, for those that get mad that I don't round it out. There you go, $200. Why do you say $199.99? I don't know, because maybe that's the official MSRP, you dumbass. $199.99, $200, same shit. The fuck out of here, you fucking soft technical geek. Again, it was consumer friendly. I wish the Engine of Vengeance was this consumer friendly. I'd rather have that be $200 than $350. Yeah, it would have been overpriced, but I'm pretty sure that car would have funded if it was $200. But I know at that time it didn't need to fund, because if it did at $350, it would have spelled disaster for every other Haslab going forward, because that Dragonfly would have been $350 or more. You know, this Giant Man would have been $350 or more. So, you know, it needed to fail. That just wasn't going to be healthy for the line, as we would have seen even more price hikes take place. But when they come out with something this consumer friendly at $200, why would you want it to fail? The lower the better. It would have been a bad look if they failed at a low price and then their next Haslab reveal is even higher in price. It just wouldn't look good. After a success, they go higher, fine. After a failure, they go higher. Not good. But, you know, hey, if this succeeded at a low price, who knows? The next Haslab could be the same low price. That's the good thing about this success, is that the next Haslab can be $200 again. I'm not saying it will be, especially when we're looking at the likes of a Fing Fang Foom or Apocalypse that need, you know, a lot of unique sculpting. Then I don't see that being $200. But I'm just saying the chances are more likely. But I could see something like maybe a Frost Giant being at that price, and I could see it sell a lot more than Giant Man because it's an army builder, so you have that favoring it. Now that got me thinking, because I did see Boog's New York Comic Con interview with the Marvel Legends Hasbro team, and he did ask about Giant Man potentially being reused for other characters like Frost Giants and Atlas of the Thunderbolts, and I really hope he wasn't entertaining reuse for Haslabs, because that would be unacceptable. Haslabs should not be reused or anything like that, or repaints, you know what I mean? I don't think he was saying it like that. I think he meant more of Giant Man being the blueprint for those kind of figures. So, like, the Giant Man has all the seams and textures and all that stuff. The Frost Giants wouldn't, because they would have skin-like texture for their, whatever flesh is exposed. And, of course, some of them have, like, the fur covers and some armors, especially if we're looking at the way the Marvel Universe line did it. Atlas, maybe some parts can be reused, but again, I don't want to entertain that for a Haslab. It should be all unique sculpting. I personally would back Atlas Haslab. I'm not sure if others would. I mean, those that want the Thunderbolts as bad as I do, definitely I know will back it, but that doesn't mean, it'll fund. I don't know if the demand for Atlas is there like that. I just don't see it happening. I could be wrong, though. I would just prefer to be on the safe side and have them release a 13-inch oversized deluxe Atlas figure. But I'm not going to lie and say, man, a 24-inch Atlas figure would look cool standing next to that 24-inch Giant Man Haslab figure going toe-to-toe with. Now, I'm going to keep an open mind. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to, let's say if they are going to reuse parts for that Giant Man to make a 24-inch Atlas, doesn't mean it has to be a Haslab. They could do something like Transformers where, hey, look at their Nemesis figure that was like 24 inches tall or something like that, or very close to it. It was like 23 or 24 inch, whatever. But it was $200 and it was retail. I mean, they can do that. So I'm not going to rule out any options. But we'll see what the next Haslab will be. When they revealed Giant Man, they already said that they're going to work on the next Haslab the following week or something like that. So the speculations are already going to begin as to what the next Haslab will be. They could go Fing Fang Foom. They could go Apocalypse. That's something people would want to see because, I mean, X-Men always sells, right? So I think it's a safe bet anytime they go the X-Men route. So Apocalypse would be great. Final Form Onslaught, that's what I want to see, That's the one figure for me that I would totally accept him being bigger than Galactus. Fing Fang Foom, nah, he shouldn't be bigger than Galactus. I don't want him being bigger than Galactus. I feel like the cosmic entity that Galactus is, he should be the biggest one because they'll never get to Celestials. I don't ever see that happening. Since Galactus is 32 inches tall, I would like for Fing Fang Foom to be 30 inches tall. I think that would be perfect for him. But yeah, Final Form Onslaught, I can totally see that being bigger than Galactus, and I would welcome it. But I think, and this is just my gut feeling, next year is the 30th anniversary of the Spider-Man 90s animated series. I do think it's going to come down to two things. The Tri-Spider Slayer or the Daily Bugle. Both were tackled by Toy Biz, so, they love their Toy Biz callbacks. Tri-Spider Slayer would be great. Like, I'm all for that. I would love that. I just don't know if the demand would be there. And here's my thing. It's like Spider-Man needs a big centerpiece in the collection, I feel. That would be a great centerpiece display for a Spider-Man collection. I feel like he needs a big centerpiece for his display because we already got Galactus for our Cosmic shelf. We already have the Sentinel for our X-Men shelf. We're getting Giant Man now for our Avengers shelf. And so, yeah, Spider-Man's left out of the big main titles. When you look at X-Men, Spider-Man, Avengers, Marvel's three main titles, I definitely feel Spider-Man, it's his time now. It's his turn. Try Spider Slayer or Daily Bugle. I do feel like a Daily Bugle would be the best follow-up, and here's why. Because it is a building that can be big enough to display your entire Spider-Man collection if possible. We've seen NECA do their rooftop diorama piece, so I can see them taking that kind of route, especially if they're going to do a Toy Biz callback. They could do something really, really cool there. And another thing is that building would be complementary to follow up after Giant Man, because how cool will it be to put Giant Man next to a building? I think that would look so cool, and that would definitely sell his scale so well, especially if you're going to do some toy photography with it. But we'll see what that will be. There's going to be a lot of speculations on that. There's also going to be a lot of speculations for the supporting characters for Giant Man now that he's successfully funded. We could be seeing a complementary Giant Man wave. That would be great. You know what I mean? Because we could get a 6-inch Giant Man figure in that wave to go with And I'm pretty sure that's where we might be seeing Wasp and Yellow Jacket. So I could see those three being in a Giant Man complementary wave. Now, Bath would be interesting because they could give us that same classic look of the Haslab Giant Man in a 9-inch Build-A-Figure form, because that's normally the standard size of their Build-A-Figures is 8 to 9 inches. I wouldn't be fully opposed to that because you could start your growing effect from there. But I would also like to see one that's a little bit bigger, like a Super Adaptoid and Surtur, that's like 12 to 13 inches. And that's normally never their bath limits. It's always like 8 to 9 inches. And very few were like over 9 inches, like the MCU Giant Man and Cassie Lang. They were 10-inch Build-A-Figures. So if they're going to do them as a Build-A-Figure, I would like to see them do another classic Giant Man. That's a little bit bigger, so he could be, in between that size of the Bath and the Haslab Giant Man. It would be a win-win for us all, especially for those that weren't able to back it, that they'll be able to get a chance to get a classic Giant Man. And for those that backed it and want a growing effect, we're all in. I'm down for it. I don't know how other people will feel about it because completing an entire bath wave costs $175. So $25 more, you could have gotten that 24-inch Haslab Giant Man. Now, I know there's situations where, they couldn't fit that 24-inch figure into their displays, and that's fine. I understand that, you know what I mean? But if you had the space and if you were on the fence about it and you get the wave to get that 9-inch Build-A-Figure, you might be kicking yourself in the ass, you know what I mean? But what they should do, and they need to bring something new to the line, something new to the table for us to talk about and be excited about. Hear me out here. How about a double Build-A-Figure wave? Now, I'm not talking about two separate waves. I'm talking about one wave where you will collectively build two Build-A-Figures. So, for example, if you want to do the whole Giant Verse thing, right? What about having Bill Foster or like a Raz Giant Man as Build-A-Figures in one wave? So like one figure could come with the two right arms of those characters. They'll come with two pieces each of those characters, and then you can build up two Build-A-Figures. So that way, one wave you would have Bill Foster, Goliath, and a Raz Giant Man for your Avengers Academy display. And I think that would be really cool to switch things up. And then another wave, you could have the blue and yellow Goliath and Atlas as double baths. I feel like that would be very exciting to bring to the line. And I know cost would be, they would have to make up for cost on that. And hey, I would totally ditch 3 MCU Build-A-Figure waves to make that kind of wave happen, because I feel like Toy Biz almost came close into making a bath wave like that, where it was all army builders and each figure would come with a piece of another character, so you can build like AIM soldiers or Skrulls or whatever. I feel like they should maybe take that concept and put it into that. Now, of course, I would still love to see oversized deluxe figures for these characters, like having a 13-inch blue and yellow Goliath and Atlas. I feel like that would be a better offering. I'm just putting the idea out there, and hopefully you like my idea, whether it comes true or not. But I can't wait to see those complementary figures they have in store for us to support our Giant Man Haslab figure. I'm very excited for that Wasp. I think she looks great, and I can't wait to see what their yellow jacket's gonna look like. So none of those desirable characters that people want is locked behind the paywall. So that's another thing I forgot to check off the checklist earlier when I was talking about what I wanted them to do for the next Haslab, is none of those desirable characters are locked behind the paywall. Sure, if a figure was included at no extra cost, that would have helped sell it more. But, we're all going to get a chance to get those desirable characters now. And yeah, you have to pay an additional $25 a figure like you have to do with any other figure. So be happy we're getting that option. That's not something to complain about at all. I felt like, what they did, they stuck to their guts and it sold without a figure. It still worked. Because now we could go into the store, grab our Wasp figure, grab our yellow jacket without worrying about relying on other people to unlock it for us to get the figure that we want if they were locked behind the Haslab. Just like what happened with the Skrull head. You know, we gotta thank the 111 that didn't help us unlock that Skrull head. And that really sucks. So kudos to them, they pulled it off. I mean, they played it safe, and that was the best thing to do. I want to send a huge congratulations to the Hasbro Marvel Legends team, Ryan Ting, Dwight Stahl, Dan Yoon. Pop them champagne bottles, boys. Y'all deserve this one. And to everyone who wanted this Haslab Giant Man as much as I did, I'm toasting to you guys. You know, cheers. We did it. We made it happen. And it was great seeing the community band together, making this thing happen. It was also nice being around people who wanted this Giant Man figure as much as I did. You know, that's the great thing about this community, is being able to share our passion with each other. And I can't wait to see Giant Man on your displays. And I'm sure you're excited to see how Giant Man will look at my display. I gotta move my Avengers shelf now, so I got some reworking to do, and that's fine. It'll keep me busy. And I'm just happy that the reception towards this was mostly positive. You know, I said before that, in my opinion, that 2023 is the worst year for the modern day Hasbro Marvel Legends era in terms of reveals and releases. Again, that's just my opinion. And this was the one reveal that I was excited for the most this year. This is the one thing I wanted the most this year, and I'm just happy that it happened. So I hope 2024 is better. They already said 2024 is done, and they're already working on 2025. So, you know, I am excited to see what complementary figures we're going to get for Giant Man. And like the idea I had before for a double Build-A-Figure wave, since 2024 is already done, that might not happen this year. So I hope if they hear this, they can consider something like that for 2025. And we still need complementary figures for our other Haslabs. I hope they don't forget. Like, we still need Airwalker for Galactus, some other Heralds. And for our House of X Sentinel, I definitely would love to see more House of X based X-Men characters. All in all, a big W for Big G, and Giant Man is coming home to be hailed as the definitive Marvel Legends Giant Man, and to also complete the definitive Marvel Legends Classic Avengers display. Now I'm kicking it back to you. Are you excited about Giant Man being fully funded? And what do you think they should do about that Giant Man Skrull head? Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Thank you for watching another Marvel Legends news video. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xman87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next video. Peace.